welcome back to another episode of NFT Artist Spotlight, hosted by AstroZero. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Today on our spaces, good friends of ours are coming by. They host the daily Polygon NFT Twitter space. We have Dave Swimbank, we have Beluga. We featured Dave's project in the past, Crypto Goons. Today we'll be talking with our friend Beluga here. He has a project called Beluga Bay. So thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate the time. And thank you again for having us with you guys yesterday.
Thank you. It was great to kind of blend the two communities. I really enjoyed it.
So what was the turning point that made you decide that you wanted to get into NFTs, Beluga?
Well, actually, so a little bit of backstory of myself is I've been an artist for 25 years or so. So maybe longer. And about 15 years ago, I started a toy company, a indie toy company that makes vinyl toys and plush toys, and it was an indie video game company. And so I've been running that for 15 years or so, and then friends of mine kind of got me cornered one day at lunch and said, "You've got to bring your toys to NFT world." And I was like, that sounds really complicated. And then I heard a lot of negative stuff about the environment related to Ethereum and the blockchain. So I did some research, and they came back to me and said, when are you going to do NFTs? And then a friend of mine came back and said, "Let me show you what I made in my wallet this month," and it was like $750,000. And I was like, all right, it's time to join the NFT world. So I posted my intentions with my audience on Facebook, which was like 20,000 deep at the time. And I got a lot of bad press, right? Just people are like, "You're going to destroy the environment, and this is not what we signed up for." So I quickly realized that I wasn't going to be able to, at this point, bridge the gap between what my toy company was doing and what NFTs were doing. So then I started digging deeper and becoming a community manager for a couple of my friends' big projects, and so I finally said, this is kind of cool. I started hearing about Polygon, and I started building the whales, and I was on this bigger project, which I won't mention, as a community leader, and I finally got the artwork where I thought the belugas should be, and I got a little bit of utility nailed down as far as what I wanted to do, and then I went to them, and their whole thing was supporting artists from the ground up. And I said, "Hey, I've got these whales. I have got this idea about this adventure that they go on, and yada yada." And I had been supporting these guys for while they were making their bag. They made a lot of money, and I helped and ran some of their Discord and etc. And their whole strategy was, we're going to push other creators in the space. Well, when it came up to that, I said, "Okay, here's my belugas. What do you think?" And they're like, "Well, they're cute, but they don't really they're not investor friendly enough for us to push out." And I said, "Well, I'm not asking you to push these out. I'm asking you to hit a couple retweets for me." And none of those guys that I helped for months even would send me a retweet. And so when I launched, I was really kind of thinking that I would have this community support, and I was on 3 or 4 $1 million Ethereum projects, of which I won't mention. You can probably figure it out if you dig into my wallet a little bit. But so then it struck me that I'm just going to have to go on my own and build this from the ground up, because I have this toy company where I can't really use the audience there, and I have this NFT company that doesn't really have any fan base yet. So I said, I guess I'm just going to be that guy that starts the community. So I started hosting Twitter Spaces and really pushing for other people to build a community. And somewhere along the lines, my goal for my current project became supporting other artists. So the utility of my project has become helping emerging artists. And so the Twitter Spaces kicked off, and I met Dave, and Dave came and saw what I was doing and was already doing something similar to what I was doing. I just had, I think, a little bit of a jump on what they were doing there. And then Dave came and made it way better. And then Boss came to be our collector liaison, and my good friend Jay Stanfield, who I met in the Spaces while we were on Ethereum, and he's like this kind of class clown. And so we became this kind of ragtag group that runs Twitter Spaces, and we're very passionate about Polygon because of the low gas. So then I just started releasing more and more whales, and really not giving a fuck about what people think. And that really has pushed me forward as a wannabe influencer, I guess. And so I think that my community is very transparent and encouraging and helpful, and we don't have a lot of the stuff that I came from in these Ethereum based projects. That, I mean, I love the Ethereum world, but it just they weren't very supportive, and so that's my backstory.
I gotta tell you, the Polygon community, especially like the group that you guys bring in there, you guys are hardcore, man. Like really, like super supportive of each other. And you know, I go into like spaces all day long, and I see some of these spaces, and you go in there, and it's almost like people play favorites. At least that's the like the feel that I get from this. Like, and you guys, you run it the right way, man. Um, just the way you guys operate, I really dig it. That's what kind of like attracted me to it. I've known Dave now probably for about 3 months. I guess we did a space with these guys about 3 months ago, and one day he just hit me up in the inbox and he said, "I got a project for you." And I'm like, "Is it your project?" He's like, "No, it's not mine. It's just like somebody that came into our spaces." I was like, "All right, let's do it." And that's pretty much how this snowballed. And yeah, it's working out pretty nicely so far.
I think I think for Beluga as well, we're not like, Beluga's very Polygon focused, like, and rightly so. Polygon offers a lot of good things, but like the drivers in our room are for everyone. Like the way we host, like if you're willing to come in and you want to build people up, you know, we've had Ethereum projects come in and talk on our floor. We've had a Soul project come in and give a shill because they came in and they built other people up and they offered support. And it's not an offensive thing. Yes, we want to be Polygon focused, but if you've got the right attitude and you want to match values with us, then we've kind of got time for you. That's the way that we want to look at it. You know, we don't want to turn into one of these like exclusive spaces that has kind of pushed us all to this. We don't want to, or certainly for me anyway, I don't want to turn into one of these spaces that's pushed Beluga out. I want to have time for everyone if they've got time for us, essentially.
Yeah, I actually am kind of excited when we get people on different blockchains coming in. You know, when we get like a Solana project or we get a Poly project, because I would say 90% of the people I interview are on ETH, but I have a soft place in my heart for the underdog. So
Poly's not going to be the underdog for long.
I don't know either. So going back to your project, Beluga, how big is your collection?
Oh God. So I released a founders edition, which was, I think, 300 deep, and it has like collab pieces, which was like my attempt to learn how to do NFTs, and so that was the first one, and then the season 1 came out, and that was 3,333, and the reason why I did that is if you look at my profile pic, it kind of looks like a 3 if you like trace a skull. And so I just like, well, I guess I'll make 3,333, and and then I dare somebody to ask me why that is the case, but it's just the way I am. And then right after that, I released 1,000 free whales that were free chili. It was starting to get cooler, I guess, and I kind of made fun of whales by releasing 1,000 cool colored whales that are all blue, and I just handed those out. And the cool thing that happened during the free chili event is we created this adventure-based kind of like role-playing aspect to the Beluga Bay, and so I did these quests that you couldn't do in Ethereum, where I handed out potions, and we had all these kind of fun things. And if you did the quest, you got a free whale, and so that was a lot of fun. That was, I think, 1,000 whales, and then what else have we done? Oh, then Halloween came, and I kind of went crazy. I released 8,000 Halloween whales that were free. And I released, they were really cool. I mean, some of the coolest of the series yet. So there's 8,000 Halloween whales, and then if you came into the Discord and there are 4 houses of Beluga Bay, and if you proclaimed a house, then you would get a vampire. One of your belugas would turn into a vampire, and this was all during Halloween. So you got this really powerful vampire that would join your army, and there was, I think, 808 vampires. And the cool thing about those vampires is they were coded with the house that you belong to of the 4 houses. And then right after the vampires came out, or before, I'd released Legends of Halloween. I kind of went hardcore on Halloween. I released 3 collections during Halloween, and the legends were whales dressed up as either a bat, the God, I'm forgetting now. No, what was it? Swamp Thing, all of the legends of Halloween. So a Frankenstein, a werewolf, like all the legendaries. That was probably overkill now looking back, to release 3 collections during Halloween, but that's just how I roll. And then recently I did the holiday whales, and that was 5,000 for free. So anybody that held a season 1 whale got an airdrop of 5 whales to share with their friends. And I really loved the way they came out. It was the first time that I got, well, actually the second time that I delegated some of the artwork. And so my team artist, Amy, which is in our spaces every day, took all my sketches and then did all the holiday whales. And if you look, like, the holiday whales are taken over. Everybody's using them for giveaways and such like that. So yeah, I have a lot of whales out there.
So a big focus that I've seen on your project is you try not, like, you have rarities, but you try not to let people focus on it. You just want people to focus on whatever whale they feel basically suits their personality the best. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's like the truth of it is, like, I thought it would be kind of ridiculous to launch and do a blind mint from somebody that really had no following in NFT. So And a lot of my whales, I've made them have sundresses and beards, so they kind of like. I didn't want somebody to get pissed off if they got a bearded whale having a sundress on, even though I think it's cool, but they might not think it's cool. So I didn't really have the following when I did this. I went really hard on learning how to build NFTs. And so I didn't have this huge I still don't have that huge of a following to sell out, right? On Polygon. So I just wanted it to be something that you would come in and kind of fall in love with the character and then buy it. And then I just didn't want people in my Discord bitching about, well, my whale went down 0.001 today. I just didn't want that. And I had that during Ethereum days, and I wanted it to be different. And so I guess I just really wanted the community that I was building to really care about what the utility of the project is, and that's like building a different thing than just some random investment. It's probably not the best financial strategy. I know this, and I'm willing to. I mean, if you read my white paper, it states, if you're somebody that is only caring about the 0.001 gain or loss, I'm probably not the project for you, and that's just something I'm willing to take on the cheek.
Are you doing the dev work yourself as far as developing the smart contract for the generative art, or do you have somebody working with you to do that?
It's all me.
Sorry, my dog is being a pain in the butt right now. So, you're basically the entire project by yourself. You're the dev, you're the artist, you're the marketing.
I am the dev. Well, I'm not. To say I'm the dev is like ridiculous. Let's face it. It's hash libs. If it wasn't for hash libs, I wouldn't. I could have done it myself, but I'm a big proponent of not like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I just learned how Hashlips did it, and just kind of took that format. As far as the artwork, I do all the design work, and I do all the sketching, and then I have an art team that is better than I am, and they will clean up my lines, and then they send back the line work, and I do all the coloring. So basically, it's the difference recently is that I did pick up Amy, who I've delegated like entire like process to Amy, and Amy's in the audience right now. Amy is super fast and way faster than I am, and I have not been able to find anyone that could match different art styles as cleanly as Amy does. So I like reluctantly delegated. I just finally at Christmas time said I can't do all this. So I said, Amy, can you try to do the holiday? And if you look at the holiday, it looks just like the rest of the artwork in the Beluga Bay. But I do have an art team that comes and goes. But most of it is me doing the marketing. I have two great moderators in my Discord, and I try not to mess with Discord much anymore. I just don't have the free time. But I do have two or three wonderful mods, Amy and a few other art team people. I have a line artist that is way better at me with steady lines, and but as far as the marketing and the smart contracts, that's all me.
There was something I saw on your Discord, and I haven't heard of it before, and maybe I'm just ignorant to the fact. It said that you were launching using something called the User app. What exactly is this? Because I haven't heard of it before. Is this some type of alternate marketplace launch?
Yeah, that is so. Right when the season 1 came out, I was approached by User, which is basically an Instagram style platform that has a marketplace launching, and they've been launching for 3 months now. So the white paper probably still says that I'm launching on User. Unfortunately, they have kind of. I hope there's not any User representatives in here, but they really didn't make it. So I actually need to go and remove the fact that we had partnered up with User. But it had a great opportunity to fly. And I don't know what happened. But unfortunately that platform did not make it. We're also, I know Dave and I are starting to get, how do you say it, pinged by other platforms for launching our projects. And it seems to be kind of like back in the early days of Web 2.0, or maybe just web. We have like a lot of these platforms that are launching and saying, hey, we'd like for you to come on board. And then they kind of implode. So yeah, User, I hate to say this out loud, but User kind of imploded.
Okay, maybe that's why I haven't heard of them. I just wasn't familiar with them, and I was trying to get familiar with it. So if I'm a Beluga Bay holder, what type of benefits do I have as being a holder?
Getting too many airdrops probably, and then that's, first of all, it's, you get a lot for your money. Um, for just since I've launched, if you held if you held a special edition whale, then when I launched season 1, then you got 2 additional whales just for supporting me through season through special edition, and then people that hold season 1 get the opportunity to have any airdrops that I come up with in these holidays. And so season 1 people got free Halloween, free vampires, they got free Legends of Halloween, and then subsequently they got a bundle, like a pack of 5 holidays that they could spread out within their friends. And the early supporters actually got named whales. So and they got free chilies as well. So just holding a whale or being a supporter of the whale gets you a lot of stuff going forward. And then also, anybody that's in the Beluga Bay family gets my support if you do any sort of projects. I mean, I've kind of expanded that family into the Twitter Spaces, so I probably need to. I mean, I think it's funny because I've been on many projects that have given far less to me for buying one of their NFTs than what I give, but I just like to create stuff and give it out, and if I could give it out for free, I probably would, and well, I do, but yeah, I going forward, I'm gonna have to like reel that in to make Beluga Bay holders have some more scarcity. But the thought of burning the whales really kind of doesn't feel right to me. And because I don't know, I just love the artwork, and I love the idea that the thought of burning a creature, even if it's inanimate pixel, kind of gets to me a little bit. So I don't know what I'm going to do regarding that.
And the other thing they'll get, Beluga, is they'll get my support. If they're supporting you, they'll get my support, and off the back of that, they'll get the support of the community that we've set up and created. So the utility of buying a Beluga is far bigger than just getting involved with Beluga Bay. You're essentially becoming part of the Polygon spaces that Beluga and I have created, that we've got big ideas for moving forward. So I just wanted to clarify that part of the utility for Beluga, because he doesn't talk about it as big as it should be. If you're in that spaces, you know what impact we can have on people, and you know how people are rising up by embracing the attitude. So Beluga needs to take a lot of credit for that, and if you're part of his project, you'll get that support.
I totally agree. The priceless part is to be a part of the community. This is the utility, the most major one.
I think that's more important than having a game or any type of aspect. If you have backing from you, this is how I look at it, right? If you're a rapper, right? I'll just make a little example. If you're a rapper and you're friends with Eminem, chances are you're going to get exposure just through Eminem. So if you could build a community and one person blows up and they see that you're, with them from the start, chances are that person's going to get your back in the long run. So I think the community aspect and what you guys have to offer there, I think that's a lot bigger than what a lot of other projects have to offer. So yeah, you should kind of like toot your horn a little bit, because you guys are really doing something special. Now, you said that I know you don't want to talk about prior projects, but you said you have done projects on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, is there a different type of strategy that you go about launching a project or marketing a project on Polygon versus ETH?
Well, so I did launch an Ethereum project called Jelly Squad, and it did really well until London Fork happened. And I was pretty new to the NFT scene when London Fork happened. I had like onboarded all these people, all my artist friends, and then London Fork happened, and it suddenly became like impossible for an emerging artist in the NFT space to sell their artwork at a price that, I mean, if you're selling your artwork and it's like, let's say $80 and it's going to cost $200 gas, you're going to have people really want some utility. I mean, that's a, mini vacation there. If they're buying a whale, they could go to Disneyland for a day. And so I guess to at about the same time that I was launching these Ethereum projects, I really got involved in real quick story is like 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so I went through the cancer treatments, both radiation and was the other chemotherapy. And so when I entered the NFT space, all I wanted to do was really build like I told my friends if I survived this, I would create an NFT project that would fight cancer. So I released this thing. It's still out there. It's called F Cancer, and I did these cute little cancer related NFTs, and I put them out there for free. And at the time, releasing an NFT on Ethereum for free was unheard of. Nobody was doing it, and so of course bots grabbed them all. And the trick was like we were going to create the secondary market for these pixels. They're called tiny pink pixels, and they had hats and little things, so you can look it up if you want. But I didn't have the following that I needed to make that cancer project work. And I got very discouraged, and went to my friends in Ethereum, and they said, well, with the London Fork, this will never work, so just launch on Polygon. So I launched on Polygon, and of course bots bought all of the cancer pixels. So instead of like doing research, the bots just bought them and didn't relist them. So that just like made me understand that I had to approach Polygon in a different way than I approached Ethereum, because let's face it, Polygon still doesn't have the cool kid club that Ethereum does. So it just means that we have to grow a stronger community, and because people that are launching on Ethereum, if you have the support of a big community there, you're gonna sell out 10K. You're not gonna do that on Polygon as fast, or at least right now, and that's really what my goal is, and I know Dave's goal is to create this community that will get behind and get these projects that our friends are creating to sell out. And really, it's just a matter of getting 2,000 engaged people. I mean, that will buy 2 or 3 NFTs, or 5 NFTs, let's say, and we can sell these things out and build that influence that Polygon needs. So to go back to your question, I think the difference really is that you have to work a little harder than you did in the Ethereum, just because it's not perceived as the cool thing to do. Dave, I know you have stuff to say.
On this particular point, I've got like strong opinions about budgets, essentially, and people coming on the Polygon chain are there because they don't have a big starting budget. They're not, they're able to set up their project by themselves. They've got the ability to learn the aspects they need to get that out, and it doesn't cost them gas to put their artwork out there. I think a lot of the Ethereum projects that you see released have got a marketing budget where they can afford to pay people to support them and push them along. So I think that's mainly the key difference, and that's why, for me, the community is so important, is because by working together and eventually bringing as artists and projects, by eventually bringing our communities on board, we can create the numbers that are equivalent to what these projects are getting in terms of sight on the Ethereum blockchain. And if we can create those numbers, then we've got a chance of converting an equivalent amount of people into buying a project, especially if the price points are much lower, and you can see that the people behind these projects are genuine. They're willing to show who they are. They're willing to talk on spaces. They're willing to do all of the things that you need to do to trust them. So like, I think that's where our drive is, and I think that's where the key difference is essentially having a starting budget to come into this market with. Most people on Ethereum have got one. Most people in Polygon don't.
Well, when you're starting a Polygon project, you could really start it almost experimentally, as opposed to on ETH. You kind of either have to know a whole bunch of people, or have a whole bunch of money, or just be willing to take a big risk. And I think it's much easier if you're not really sure if you want to do an NFT project, and you have the chance to go and mint a project on Polygon and start a project on Polygon. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, oh well, at least I gave it a shot. Where if you were to try that on ETH, you could lose your ass. And I just think Polygon is just a lot more user friendly for people that are just trying to get into the game and just test the waters. I mean, both have their strengths and both have their weaknesses. So, where was I here? Here's a question. Can you get onto rarity tools with a Polygon project?
Well, I don't know about rarity tools, but my project recently, which was kind of like out of nowhere, got pulled into NFT. I can't remember the name of it, but they basically do a free Polygon rarity tools, and both of my bigger collections were sucked up into that last night. I think it's NFTrank.io, and the funny thing is, like, I had very rare whales sitting on the floor, and like ridiculously rare whales. So when that website popped up and started pushing out that they had consumed my Polygon collections, then I did see a small surge in sales. I think it was last night, but I don't know that Rarity Tool. I would never ever pay 2 ETH to list. I mean, that just goes against everything. I would rather give my 2 ETH to one of the many projects in this room that are struggling, and I would never ever feed that beast. But I'm glad that someone did it for free, but I would not pay 2 ETH for it.
Yeah, I think it's a little crazy myself. Have you contemplated possibly getting your whales put into a metaverse project down the road?
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing that I want to do is I'm a very big proponent for not reinventing the wheel with this. So we have Dave and I are playing these Tetris games where we're aligning projects that are doing metaverse, and so what I'm doing is trying to find somebody that can model the whales in 3D to where they look as cool as they look in 2D. And I'm real particular about how the whales look, and real particular about any of what my brand is with my toy company. I'm very very particular. I will spend a lot of time making sure like everything looks ready to go. So the key component there is that the whales make look good in the metaverse, and I don't know how to really do it yet because of the nature of what a beluga would be doing, which is swimming around, and so I don't. That's a little bit of a problem if you have a water-based creature. Is most of metaverses are going to be on land, I would think, but I'm excited for the future there. Somebody's going to come up with an idea for me. I mean, it's as fast as this community moves, there's probably somebody that's already modeling the whales in a way that you know that it's going to make me happy. And I mean, there are people that have done it, but and I mean, I could probably do it. I just don't have any free time to do that anymore. But yeah, I don't know what I would love to see the whales in a metaverse where they can where you can be a whale, but I don't know how. I don't know the details. I am a game designer for 25 years, so I'm used to building all sorts of. I've done everything that you can do as a game dev, including the last 2 years building small games inside of Facebook Meta, or Facebook Horizons. So the problem that I see with the belugas is that it will be a watery metaverse unless I have actually considered just building a vehicle for the belugas to travel in. So I've been talking about building a mech system where the belugas walk around in mechs, which makes sense to me, at least in my crazy ass brain. But so I mean that would like kind of marry the two things that I love is robots and belugas. So I have worked with some mech artists to come up with beluga mechs, but yeah, so that may be how they end up in the metaverse. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably the way they will be.
We all played Flip for when, well, those of us born in the 80s didn't we? Or Echo the Dolphin, like even when we're talking about Flipper. But you know, like you could have some sort of underwater community area for sure. That would work. And second of all, like Goons have got ways to cross over into different metaverses. We need to talk.
Well, I mean, even Mario Brothers had an underwater city and zone, right? So I guess you could incorporate it somehow. The first the first project I thought of when I was asking you that question was the boys over in Cube Drop with Snow Zone, with Percy Penguin and all of those guys. That's the first group of people I thought of when I thought, they got the Arctic Zone, and then you get the belugas swimming around in the water there. It just kind of made sense to me.
They will be on that 100% as well, especially if I have a word with them.
They've already reached out to me, and they said that they have designated area for belugas. I just need to. That makes perfect sense.
So lately, Matic has been on the rise with crypto. Is there a correlation between when the Matic price rises and the sales of NFTs on the Polygon chain?
So here's the weird thing that we're in right now. I just did very well with some moving of crypto, and so that we're in a weird position with Matic and Wrapped Ether when it comes to Polygon, and that is that the Matic is what you're going to use to usually buy anything from a smart contract on Polygon, and then it goes on to the secondary market, which is primarily OpenSea, which is Wrapped Ether, and so there is this weird kind of situation where when you have a project on Polygon, that you have to kind of exist in two worlds. So you're if you're blind minting, the Polygon prices are going to be taken into consideration, but as soon as it goes into secondary market, those are no longer there. Unless you haven't fully minted out. So the correlation between Matic and Ether is it's a very strange thing that we're in, and it's funny that you should ask that question, because I was actually thinking about that today. Is how do we leverage that and I'm not the right person to ask that, so Dave.
I mean, the leverage thing probably isn't me, but with the Polygon market and OpenSea, Polygons remain consistent pretty much since September in terms of trade volume per day. Like Ethereum's been all over the place, but anywhere from sort of 75 times the value of Polygon to like 200 times the value of Polygon on a daily basis. But it's not been consistent at any point. The point of the comment is when crypto in general seems to be pumping, that trade seems to drop to lower valued NFTs on Polygon. So when crypto's pumping, the people that are spending money in Polygon are spending in the $2 to $5 range on OpenSea. When crypto starts to dump a little bit more and prices start to come down, not necessarily Matic specifically, because that seems to be in its own little world at the moment in terms of what it does. And there's reasons for that, but in my opinion. But in terms of that spending point on Polygon, when the rest of the crypto world seems to be losing money, people are buying more expensive NFTs on Polygon and picking up like secondary market prices at a higher value. But the trade volume in terms of what's being spent on Polygon on OpenSea isn't changing that much. So I think it's still aligned to people's habits with the crypto market in general. When there's value in crypto, people try and move their money into crypto or find low value NFTs that are gonna, offer them a return quickly, because that's their mentality. The people that are buying at that point, they're trying to shift money because they want to make money, and vice versa. Where they see an opportunity to maybe have a longer term gamble when they've made a return from moving it back the other way.
Very cool. How much feedback do you take in consideration from the people in your community as far as what you're going to do with your project? Maybe because you said you did something for Halloween. How much consideration do you take in from your community in order to do different types of possible seasons or whatever it might be, the next step forward for your Beluga project?
So people are pretty excited when I start talking about anything new, and I guess that probably fuels the madness that the mad scientist in me. So what I really need for my Beluga community is for them to tell me what they want, and people are not really good at telling me what I should do. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the deep voice, or but I feel like I will say, hey, should I do this? And they say yes, um, and I haven't had a lot of since I left Ethereum. People have just pretty much supported what I want to do. Ultimately, what I want to do is learn tokenomics and create a Beluga Bay game very similar to. I'll say this out loud because it's a successful game, but Polyfarm. I would love to create a tokenomics-based game where my people that support me can earn some passive income, or whatever is the safe way to word that. Maybe have belugas that capture fish, and then sharks can come and steal the fish from the belugas, and the fish would be the token. But coming from a gaming standpoint, what my end game is not necessarily beluga related. I mean, belugas are the biggest thing that I've ever created, other than my toy company. But the end game for me is to bring my toy company into the NFT world. So if my belugas are successful, then I have a warehouse of toys that I have stopped retail. They're sitting in a warehouse waiting for me to throw some either QR codes or tag them with some sort of relationship to an NFT, and then bring that into the NFT world. And I think I'll be one of the first toy companies if I don't get beat out. I mean, here's the truth is there's no Toys R Us anymore. So people like me that own a small toy company kind of have an edge if we get off our asses and make it happen. So it just means that I need for the belugas to be successful, and then I can take any of that liquidity and build the ability to have a toy company in the NFT world. So the question that you should be asking me is a toy company really going to work in the NFT world? And my answer is I have no freaking clue, but I'm assuming that a lot of you people sitting in the audience have kids, and if you can buy an NFT, and there's a sort of, I don't know about you all, but this gives the permission for adults to be kids again. Like, when have you bought a whale and felt like confident about it, or bought something cute and as a grown man and said, oh, this is an NFT? Well, in this case, if I have a toy, you can say, yeah, I bought this for the kid, and so it's just added utility. Do I know if it's going to work? I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. But I've banked a whole warehouse of toys on this idea. I mean, I have a retail store that I have discontinued selling out of because I'm banking on the fact that whatever my end game is, will be able to sell toys in Web3. But my end game is to build a gaming studio that is distributed. So each person in the game studio comes from the Polygon NFT community. So the artists, the game designers, the level designers, the texture mappers, all of those people are people from the NFT community. And so we're not building something, we're not having a corporation tell us what indie game we should be building. Where do I stand in this? I'm probably just going to be like a leader in that space. I don't know that I have the cycles to be a game developer anymore, unfortunately. I can barely do sketches for Amy without getting pinged by stuff in the background. But the end goal for me is to be some sort of thought leader in building a distributed game studio in Web3 in the future. So that's my end game. I have to do, first of all, I have to sell out whales. So if you want to see this happen, go buy some whales. Let's be honest. The second thing is really for the community to shape me into the leader that they need. I think I am a good leader, and I think Dave's a good leader, and everybody in this, all the people that I see in this space that I recognize are some of the coolest people. And like Maddie, who's got his hand up right now, spent like 2 days working on a DApp for me for holiday whales, and Maddie didn't have to do that, right? So I just want to shout out the people in this community that are helping me, and I just hope that you guys can shape me into the leader that I need to be in the future. That sounds a little martyrous, but it's true.
I need to just jump in on 3 things very quickly. First of all, Beluga, if you want your toy business to be a success, that's up to you, and you can make it happen. Second of all, our very first conversation was about putting the goons on a shop shelf, because if you go into a shop and see the goons on a shop shelf, you ain't looking at anything else. And the third thing is, you are the leader that we want and that we need. Otherwise, people would be feeding back to you that you weren't. Like, when was the last time someone told you that you weren't being what they needed? And if that hasn't happened, then you're being exactly what we need.
Hey, go ahead, Maddie.
Hey, Beluga. Just a question about going back to the metaverse thing. The mech thing, love it. It's a great idea. But what's stopping you from having, say, the belugas swimming through the air, or like hopping on their flippers, like that one Simpsons episode where all the dolphins come out of the water and they're hopping around on their flippers?
Yes, that
works. I'm just really funny about aesthetics, so I just want to make sure that the belugas don't look ridiculous, and that they hold up. So they would need to, like, their bellies would need to kind of stick out, and then they need to bounce on their flippers. I'm going way too much detail for. There's probably people in this audience that have never heard me, and they don't realize how deep I can go in this mess. So, yeah, but it really just has to be, for me, it just has to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to cuteness. So that's like, I have a whole brand based on cute. So yeah, I agree. That'd be cool.
I do love the mech, though. I think the mech's the way to go for sure. I just wanted to say the thought now after you've said about the mech.
Hey, if anybody wants to come up and ask Beluga a question, feel free to raise your hand. I'll bring you up to the box here. So let's talk briefly about the Twitter Spaces that you guys are holding. How frequently do you do it? What time is it hosted? And how much preparation goes into it for you guys?
Dave, you want to take this one?
Yeah. Well, so we go 2 till 4, Monday to Friday Eastern times. Weekends have been a bit hit and miss, and we get a much smaller crowd at weekends because of that, and it's a different atmosphere. So we're going to switch that up in the new year. And we've told, basically, I'm going to take over weekend shows. I already have a day off in the week. I might take another day off in the week. Beluga's going to take the weekend off. And it's just to give us a rest, because it's full on, like you said earlier on. You know, you're kind of going 5 days, and that's enough. Planning and prep. Beluga and I message each other regularly, but the style that we offer, I think if we over plan and over prep, then it doesn't come across how we want it to, and we can then get stuck on stage for too long. And whilst we've got relevant and pertinent points to add, excuse me, sorry. You know, the platform's not for us. The platform's to enable people to have the voice, or the space to get their voice heard that maybe we struggled with when we were trying to put our brands out there in the early days. So yeah, I think over planning and over prepping would hinder that. But we speak regular, and the planning and prep comes from knowing the projects, right? They come up there every day and they talk to us. Like, there's projects that I know like the back of my hand that I could tell you as soon as I saw the PFP, just because we've heard them speak now 20 or 30 times, and not always about their information. So it kind of becomes inbuilt, and then other people kind of assume responsibility and offer sort of leadership and value, and if they do that, then we kind of onboard them to try and take some of that sting away from Beluga and I, so that we can host the spaces and offer the people what they need. So like Beluga said, it's all a big Tetris puzzle. There's a lot going on, like I'm just going to flip down the room. Like Mattyverse is quite involved. NFT Samantha's quite involved. We need to get Matic Mike more involved, but he's too busy writing contracts all the time. Like as soon as he stops writing a contract, we want him to come and spend a bit more time with us. CFS PA down there, Amy down there, Yaz has started doing things. Trip Drips is like involved with me. iPalettes, like these guys, as I'm going through the room, they're all adding value and making a difference to the whole room and the whole community, which means that prep's a lot easier, going back to your point, and a lot more natural, and we get the flow like we want it.
Yeah, and so I applied for a small grant for the Twitter Spaces, and I was awarded a small grant for it. And so what I started doing with Dave's help is building a CRM behind the scenes to document all of the projects and kind of what their motivations are. So then one of the things that kind of grew out of that is, like Dave was saying, a Tetris game where we kind of started seeing like AI artists all forming, and then 3D artists have all formed, and then certain charities kind of grouped together. So what I do is I create a spreadsheet every day and try to be fair, and also if there's a new project that I see that we don't really know about, I try to bump them up a couple in the queue, so they first of all, they don't get discouraged. I know that my community is cool enough that if I bump somebody new, people are not going to get butthurt about it. They're going to be like, "Oh, this is cool. This is something new. We haven't heard about it." We have this brand awareness that is developing. So if you're, I think like psychologically, if your brand is seen 3 or 4 times, your brain reacts one way, but if it's seen 15 times, then it's totally, it's what the basis of marketing is. So what we are starting to do is actually know the brands and know and see them evolving and see their strategies change. So the planning really is looking at this roster of 500 projects, or it's close to 600 now, 600 projects on Polygon, and trying to figure out who the next big stars are, just and then try to also see who's struggling the most, and trying to like leverage the people that are the new elegant elephants, and who are the people that need support and need to be pulled up and supported. So that kind of Tetris game is what I think is going to help the community succeed. There's a whole group in between that needs our help too. So in 2022, using a CRM of some nature, the CRM I invested in is absolutely horrible. So if you guys know of a good project management tool that isn't too expensive, please hit me up in the DMs. But we loaded all of the projects in and started building some plans around what we can do to assist them. And but the day-to-day is basically just running a spreadsheet and making sure that people get the time that they need, and you get a fast pass if we run out of time. And yeah, so that's it.
Cool stuff. Hey, Galaxy Knights, you got a question?
Yeah, hey, sorry. I was just helping my mum clean out the car while I was listening. So hey, how's it going? Hey Beluga, hey Dave. Again, these two were like two of the first people I ever met, and it was one of my first collaborations. My question was, when you do the toys, I haven't been in for such a long time, so you might be repeating yourself, and I'm sorry if you are. But when you release the toys, how much are you gonna release on the first like batch, and are these gonna be attached to the NFTs, or are these going to be a separate thing?
Well, so I'm in talks with a company right now that wants to build a gamification around the toys. So right now in the warehouse, I think I've got, I want to say about 20,000 toys ready to go. So that's a solid, you know, 2 NFT collections or 3 NFT collections, depending on how I have it. But that being said, I want it to be game changing and really put a lot of um, liquidity back into the Polygon ecosystem. So I mean, it's not going to. I'm in a position now as an artist that liquidity doesn't mean a lot to me. I've got pretty much anything I need as a person, at least for now. I mean, things in this world change quickly, but so really reinvesting in this ecosystem is more important than like me making a lot of capital. So yeah, the what my goal is either to do a QR code or to create some sort of like addendum to the toy that is blockchain enabled. So I've looked at little toys that would have an RFID that would be at the token level, but I haven't really figured that out, and I haven't also figured out the logistics behind shipping worldwide, because that is a big problem. Worldwide logistics shipping in an NFT market is something that we haven't figured out in the NFT space, because in certain cases, to ship a toy, even a plush toy, to something like Turkey from my location would be like $24, and so there's no real way to, unless you charge an arm and a leg for the NFT to cover this type of transaction. So that being
unless you use one of your 500 or 600 connections to find out if someone could get you some toys stored somewhere else in the world, Beluga. I mean, a man with you knows people.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I've got companies that are talking to me left and right related to this. And they were doing this before I entered the NFT space. But I don't really know that. I've got to get back on that in 2022 and make it happen. But thanks for that.
Okay, cool. That's awesome, man. Good to hear. I wish you nothing but success, guys. Do I have any more questions? Probably not as of yet. But I am interested in your toys, because I haven't heard of it apart from today. So yeah, and I just want to say I'll keep quiet, and if anyone else has got questions, go ahead. Much love, guys, and yeah, all the rest. All the best.
Gotcha.
So we have a good amount of NFT projects here. I was going through everybody's PFPs to check out what they have going on. What's a bit of advice that you could give somebody that's new in the space to maybe not have a pain point that you hit?
Let me think. A pain point that I've hit, I think I've hit every pain point you could hit. I think I just think what you got to do is look around and really invest your time in something that you love to do first and foremost, and also don't think that there's a silver bullet that because I think a lot of people, when they get into the NFT space that are brand new, they think that they're going to post to OpenSea and then some magical ETH fairy is going to come and purchase all of their stuff up. And then when it doesn't happen, and even though you've got like badass artwork and a kind of cool concept, and your stuff sits on a shelf somewhere in the metaverse, that you get discouraged. And it really comes down to having eyeballs in front of your work. I mean, if there's no easy way to, I mean, you do have your like breakout stars that have no audience and then suddenly sell out. But let's be honest, it's a lot of hard work to get into a community and get that support. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is don't get discouraged if you do launch and you only get 1 or 2 sales out of the gate, or no sales out of the gate. Just get yourself involved in a community like this one we're in, and the one we have, and just put your heart and soul into your artwork and market it. I think Dave has had a lot of. I got to get some water real quick, Dave.
Yeah, basically work hard, build relationships, and when you get knocked down, dust yourself up, get back up, and build the next relationship. And engage, like Beluga was essentially saying, you've got to be yourself all the way through this. I mean, like there's plenty of people you can look to that got success through sort of marketing, but the Polygon space, like we said earlier on, it's about you and how you are as an individual. And if your individuality and your personality is in your work and shines through, then you get sales. I mean, like just look at some reactions from Troglodyte right now, right? Like what's happened this evening in terms of exposure and sales from the Polygon community, because you've come out and you've told your story and people have bought into who you are and what you've got. Like, that's how you gain people's buy-in, and when it doesn't work, try with the next person, because there's people out there that will believe in you and your passion and your vision.
Super important. Don't be shy. Get up in the box and talk. As soon as Troglodyte went and spoke earlier today, the first thing I did is I sent him a DM and I said, I'm getting you on an AMA with me. First thing that I said to him. And don't be shy. Talk about your project, right? You're putting yourself out there, like talk yourself up a little bit. Don't be scared. I mean, why else would you be making a project? You're making a project to sell some shit, right? You're not making a project to waste your time and, just I could draw on my own time at my house. It's going to be really shitty, but, I could do it on my own time rather than, going through the hardships of, minting contracts and doing all this other stuff. So I always encourage people, get up here and talk. There's nothing wrong with talking.
100%. We offer support as well, Elon. Like if someone's not ready, because we deal with a lot of like foreign language people and a lack of confidence in our space because we get through a lot of people. So, we encourage people to DM us, and we also will pin stuff if people can't get in there. We'll mention projects and stuff like that. So we try and offer that support to people that maybe aren't confident or struggle with this thing, because we're aware that that's a big thing for some people.
So we've went for about 70 minutes now. I guess we'll wrap up our AMA here, and then if you guys are cool with it and want to hang around, we'll open up the floor to some people here that want to share about their project.
Cool. I've got one question hanging over for you from NFT Samantha from when you were on Wednesday. Dave, Elon, I don't know what to call you anymore. Can we see she was struggling? Can we see if we can pull her up and get her to ask it? If not, I've got it on a message.
Absolutely. Hold on. Who's this? NFT Samantha?
Yeah, that's right. She's got a whale and funny writing.
NFT Samantha, come on up.
While we're waiting for, I just want to say, to anybody who's looking or starting off their new NFT adventure or has been in it for a while, I just want to say you're going to have a lot more success if you just come up here and be human. You know, and you know, you don't have to be confident. Just being human. You know, just and interacting with people is super important. You know, I don't know anybody that wants to be friends with a robot, but if you do, I can point you out to several robots that you can be friends with. You know, but so the point is, you know, just be human, you know, just connect with people. You know, you're going to have a lot better time if you're just friendly. And you know, you're more focused on, you know, having a good time and connecting with people as opposed to, you know, shilling your project as much. I'm not saying don't shill your project. I'm saying be a human while you do it, and you're going to have a lot more experience and a lot better of an experience, should I say. Thank you.
So, Samantha, what was your question? Samantha?
Don't be rude, Samantha. I want to hear about your work as well. Oh, she's really struggling. I'm going to go with the question quickly, and hope she comes on to talk about her work. If not, I'm going to make sure you all go to our OpenSea page and look at it because it's incredible. It's not happening. Let me read it out. It was about in regards to your platform, so your marketplace, and we spent quite a bit of time talking about projects and like how you could help people that were maybe releasing sets. And I think we've got a lot of one-of-one artists, and I think her question was more like how could you utilize your community to uplift and push one-of-one artists as well as you know, people that want to release PFPs. And also sort of what sort of support and encouragement can you offer for those guys specifically in terms of like exposure as one-of-ones rather than that. And I think it was just the nature of the room. I don't think it was anything else. I think it was just the nature of the room that meant that we kind of glossed over that a little bit.
Well, once we do launch the platform, I really don't want to say this, but I'm probably going to be running spaces 7 days a week, and the goal is to bring on a different artist that's on our platform every single day of the week to talk about their project. And I was thinking, you know, typically I do like an hour session. I was thinking I could even break it down to like half hour, like double headers, and we could showcase 14 artists a week. I think that's a pretty good opportunity for somebody. I think we could really squeeze in a lot of information in 30 minutes. I do kind of go pretty in depth with when I talk to people. So I mean, if we chop it down to the basics, I think we could get between 14 to 21 people in a week to talk to us. Um, Aiden is very good as well. So if I do need a day off, I have 100% faith in him to take over for me. So that's what the goal is. Hopefully, the first month that we are launched, I would like to at least talk to 100 artists that are on our platform. So that's a personal goal that I'm setting. I think that's a pretty decent thing that we're going to be offering people as far as, you know, getting their voice out, because anybody could mint, but if you have a story behind it and it touches somebody, I think it's a little bit more personal and it'll increase your sale potential.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I think that covers off the question, you know, like enough to ease any immediate concerns that a one-of-one artist might have. And obviously, look, I can vouch for this guy. Like, he's super accessible. Like, it's been super easy to arrange these two spaces crossovers. And like something that I'd like to just quickly says, I'd like this to be a once-a-month thing. You know, where we can like really make a push to bring two communities over to each other once a month. Something like that. For sure. And I also want you to just like I found one of NFT Samantha's bits of work. Like her Christmas collection when it dropped just absolutely astounded me. Sort of psychedelic and sort of Christmas land. It was incredible. She's posted that today. But get on OpenSea, please. Just go and have a look through her profile and her work and have a little read down her Facebook feed. Like she's an incredible person. She offers a lot of value to the community, to her followers. She engages all the time. And she's going to be a key part of our community. She's a community leader already. And Beluga and I are going to be engaging with her in terms of our spaces to sort of utilize her skill set moving forward on how we can keep pushing that community growth. So like, you know, if you're invested in Beluga and I and what we're doing in our spaces, and NFT Samantha's a huge part of that, and you guys need to make sure you check her out. Her artwork is fantastic.
Absolutely, 100% will. All right, we're going to go in a little bit of an order here. We're going to go Galaxy. You just spoke, so we're going to go Troglodyte.
Excuse me. Sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say goodbye. And Merry Christmas to everybody. That's all. I don't want to talk. I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas before I head off. And you know, all the best to all you guys. Thank you for hosting this space. Thank you for teaching other people about your knowledge, because that's the most important thing. Much love to you all. All have a Merry Christmas. Love you guys. Goodbye.
Thanks, man. You too. All right, Trog, you're up, and then we're going to go to Trip Dip, and then we're going to go to the Creative Owls. All right, so Trog, fire at will.
Hi, you're right. Hi, yeah, sorry. I'm not going to speak about the project too much because obviously I'll speak about it in January. I just wanted to just say thank you to Beluga, yourself, Dave, Boss. You guys are absolutely amazing. And all what you guys are speaking about in terms of coming into community and speaking and getting to know people and having that human feel, it actually does work. As what Dave was saying, I'm a testament to that right now with over 60 sales from just speaking and telling my story. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's amazing. What you guys are doing is absolutely amazing.
Well, when one person wins, we all win, right? We have strength in numbers here, and that's the most important thing that we could have. So it's all about the community effort. You know, it's not one project. We have multiple projects here, and if we all work together, everybody's going to be a winner.